everybody? It's Darren Redmond, FHT Sports. It is Saturday night. Want to start with an update, and this is the freshest update that I have. Stuff could have changed since we started to go live here, but right now, at the end of the second period at Selin Arena, Valencia was leading the Fresno Monsters 4-2. However, quick penalty situation for Valencia. They went in the box. Fresno went on the power play. Quick goal early in the third period. Monsters trail by a goal, 4-3. In the last home game for the Monsters at Selin Arena this season. Boy, it really went quick, didn't it? And it's Star Wars night, so should be a lot of fun for the people that are there. We have our representatives there checking out the game. I'm here with you live. Might have a guest or two. So settle in. As we know, tomorrow is the big day. In the NFL, in fact, the Super Bowl is the pomp and the pageantry and that annoying, I sound like the old guy, right? That annoying halftime show. But the championship games are tomorrow. And we have two really good ones. Very rarely I hear a phone ringing. Do you hear a phone ringing? I hope you do. So let's see. Hey, is this the Tony Duran?
Yeah.
No? Who is it?
You called me. You should know before you die.
Well, we thought it was Tony Duran. We're calling you live here on Redmond's Wrap Up.
I know you're live on radio. You're live with the cigar and scotch in my hand.
But nobody's stopping you from having a little scotch right now?
Yeah. I have scotch on by myself. I'm considered an alcoholic. Don't you know that?
I've been living my life that way for about 20 years.
All you do by yourself.
Yeah, well, we know this. So either Sunday night or Monday night, Tony and I, folks, we know people watch this a lot of times later in the evening or on the next morning. We're going to be together again. And it's something that hopefully we can do like weekly. Tony, what's on your mind? Let's give him a little teaser. What's on your mind, sports-wise? Well, that's true. Well, let me ask you this. Since you do know football, but it's not your sport, okay? You have, in one game, you have the New England Patriots, who for like 8 years in a row have been to the AFC Championship game. They're going once again. And you have Tom Brady leading them against a young Kansas City Chief team that lost to the Patriots in New England by 3 points. I think it was 43-40. They're playing Kansas City. What does your gut tell you? Does experience win? Or does the young rookie quarterback or second-year quarterback with the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl?
Who's the quarterback for the Chiefs?
Pat Mahomes. 50 touchdown passes this year against Tom Brady. You know Tom Brady.
Yeah, the cheaters.
Yes.
Pete Mahomes, nobody heard of him. And then Alex Smith went to KC, right? Before? Was he the quarterback over there?
Yes, you're very good.
Which he used to be the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, 49ers, whatever.
Yeah.
So obviously he sucked there, they sucked there.
Yes.
They do have Travis Kelce? I don't know, Kelce, is that his name?
That is.
Tight end?
Yes. Yeah, very good.
Kelce's good, but Kelce can't carry the team. So I'm going to say the cheaters are going to win that one.
All right, the Patriots on the road.
Yeah.
They
got to win.
There's the feel good for me being a Jet fan. You hate the Patriots, but you do respect them. Pat Mahomes, 50 touchdowns this year.
Football, so.
Yeah, well, that I know. The young guy playing in Kansas City. It's the sexy pick. People want to see that happen. But you know what? I gotta say you're right. I agree with you. My son does as well. I agree with you. Looking at this game, it's just this. Until you beat Bell. Now look, the coach of
the only people that Kansas City is going to beat is the Oakland Raiders because they whoop their ass all the time.
Well, this is true.
And when they got Alex Smith, it was just like San Francisco whooping the Oakland Raiders.
Right.
So there you go. Exposed Bay Area, they're not going to go anywhere.
No.
Give me a break. You have the Bay Area, they have San Francisco 49ers, and they have their Prince Straws.
Right.
And they're a sanctuary city, and they got rid of curly hair boy. What's his name? Colin Cancer. Colin Kaepernick. Come on.
My my man is on fire tonight. This is why we love Uncle Tony, and but now look, I was going to talk about this in a couple minutes with you, but you kind of brought it up. Different subject, same subject. Do you feel this is very good for a league when in the AFC the two teams that finished 1-2, well, the Chiefs finished 1, Patriots finished 2, they end up in a championship game. In the NFC, it's going to be, we'll talk about that game in a minute, the Los Angeles Rams going to the New Orleans Saints indoors, and both of those teams finished 1-2 of this past year. So when both divisions, both leagues, have the number one playing the number 2 in the championship game, you very rarely see that. Is that good for a league, bad for, regardless of the sport? What's your thoughts?
No, I think that's good. One should play 2. So, and when did the Rams leave St. Louis?
They left 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But remember, they basically went home, right? They started in LA, they left for a while, won a Super Bowl, and decided, we're going back to LA.
Yeah, I don't know. Where did when Ellen played for them? Where were they? LA then?
They were, yes.
At the Coliseum, right?
Yes, they were. Correct.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's Rams and who?
It's the Los Angeles Rams against the New Orleans Saints with Drew Brees.
I'm going with the Saints because those guys, they didn't change their name. They made it to Katrina. They're not wishy-washy going to St. Louis, going to LA. They're like Oakland, just hot football horrors going all over the states. Pick a city, pick a state, stay there, suck it at Buttercup, win games, lose games, but don't leave fans. So I'm calling the Saints.
I gotta tell you, I don't like this whole, have team will travel either. I mean, pick a home. That's where you are. I get it. Here's my concern. 1 playing 2 again in the NFC. With New Orleans, they're very, very good at home. LA late in the year, they started to stumble a little bit. But here's what I'm thinking. Drew Brees, I love him. He's just the guy. The guy is a perfect example of why you'll never hear me bitch about, I don't care the sport now, people getting as much money as they can as a free agent. Because when Drew Brees was with the Chargers, he was a very good player. But they drafted Phillip Rivers. So they were going to let Drew Brees go. But here's what happened. He ended up still being a gamer, and he took a bad hit last game of the season, separated his shoulder. They released him because they had Phillip Rivers, treated him like trash, and then New Orleans Saints took a flyer on him. So I love his success, and that's why you'll never hear me complain about how much money a person holds out for. So, but here's my concern. He's had 40. Well, let me hear. Right.
We're bitching on them, so we won't say them. But how many of those other people can save a life?
Well,
how many of those people can straighten a spine? They can't. You have to make millions of dollars. So, who cares about them? They don't do anything. They run around on the field like a bunch of idiots.
But see, you actually proved my point in a way. You are, basically, I'm talking to a person that can save a life. Me, I scream like a child and call somebody. Anyway, my point is, it works both ways. You'll never hear me complain about an owner cutting a player because it's their right. And I'm a capitalist. If you want to hold out for more money, now the problem I have with is once you have a contract signed and then you hold out. No good.
No, you signed it, buddy.
That's what I'm getting at. So I have no problem with somebody making, because their careers can end like this. That's all I'm saying. But
well, not only that, then you have the players that bitch about the owners. Well, they're making all the money, we're breaking our backs, and we're getting brain trauma, and blah, 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 blah. Well, then, very simply, buy the team.
That's right.
Buy your own damn team, and then you can be just like all the other owners, but you don't.
No.
You don't have the capacity to buy it, whether mentally or economically, so shut up and go play the game. Look at, in hockey, you have Mario Lemieux.
I was going to say, a great example.
And played, they couldn't pay him. He didn't sit there and go, I'm gonna get mine and go somewhere else. He sat there and said, hey, just pay me when you guys can. And played for, I don't remember how many years he played for free, basically on an IOU.
Yeah, well, hold on, Tony, seriously, let me stop it for a second. We had somebody just write in, one of our listeners from the East Coast, one of our watchers. This is Uncle Tony. He owns FHT Sports. He also played college hockey and coaches kids in hockey and is very opinionated. Mark, you'd love this guy. So he's giving it. That's the question. Somebody just said, "Who's this guy on the phone?" So
Somebody's got lots of opinion and not enough facts. That's who it is.
a lot of opinion, not enough facts. No. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know, you lost. Oh, Mario Lemieux. He
Yeah.
said, I'll work on an IOU for as long as, just pay me when you can. He didn't sit there bitching about he's going to get his money and, if anybody who wants it can have him for the right price, yada, yada, yada. He just kept playing for the city for the game that he loves because he loves the game. Pittsburgh was going to go belly up. They're like, sorry, Mario, we can't pay you. We're actually going to have to sell the team. They're going to go somewhere else. We can't do this. He said, well, how much do you want for the team? He said, put my IOUs towards the purchase of the team. I'm buying the team. And that's what he did. He spent all his millions that he made playing and bought the team. He didn't sit there and bitch and go to another team. He bought the team. And then later, won two Stanley Cups. I think they won two Stanley Cups since he's been an owner. And turned the team around, and it's still in the city, the way it should be.
Well, I was going to say.
Let me play for my money. Let me play for my little show so I can dance around like a goofball on the field. Who cares? Go do your job.
Do you know it's fun?
Imagine a guy who works at Jiffy Lube. He changes an oil every time. As soon as he cranks, as soon as he puts that oil pan nut back in, gets up and slams down the ratchet and does a little dance. Woo, baby! I just did my job. Woo!
Well, it's funny you mention that because, and we'll get back to football in a second, but a couple of things. You bit a lot of beef there. I just want to kind of digest it a little bit. First off,
hey, you called me, buddy. Don't get on me for speaking my mind. You called me.
I'm not apologizing. I'm saying you gave us a lot of good facts. Absolutely. And Mark, by the way, said nice. Mark, write in your questions, your comments, man. We'll get them on the air. So, a couple things. One, you started, talking about these relocations, and you're absolutely right. Pittsburgh was dead in that city. They were going to leave. They were going to leave and go find other places. And Mario was like, no, we're staying here, and this is what we can work out. So for me, besides the fact the man's a cancer survivor and a winner, I'm a New York Ranger fan, true and true. Hate the Pens, but you know what? You'll never hear me say a cross word about Mario Lemieux as a person, as a business owner, and as a committed person to hockey in Pittsburgh. Great stuff. You're 100% right, and a lot of but back to my other point I was talking about was, so when somebody gets cut, he's been with the team 40, like the Mets had this guy Wilmer Flores, great guy, great story. Thought he was traded, cried on the field. Remember that guy, and came back, hit a home run. They got rid of him this year. There's no loyalty because you have a contract, and you know what? You have to do what's best for the team. So it works both ways. When you're a free agent, you have to do what's best for you because at the end of the day, as fans, we just root for laundry. We root for laundry. We root for the team that is in our hometown that we grow up with. I mean, you didn't grow up in Detroit, but you love the Detroit Red Wings, right? I mean, so anybody that wears that sweater, you just treat a little better because we love our laundry. But and that's a good thing. So that's why with Drew Brees, what I was going to say back to that real quick, and welcome. We have another person watching right now. So with Drew Brees, here's my concern. People didn't talk about this last week. Here was the secret sauce. Anybody watching that Saint game last week, this should be your concern. Drew Brees threw the ball deep about 4 or 5 times, could not connect. He threw the ball short. I'm a little concerned about that. So that's where I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to pick the Rams to win on the road in New Orleans in a huge upset. I think both the games are going to be upsets. I think the Patriots win in Kansas City, though my heart wants Mahomes, but my head tells me it's going to be the New England Patriots back in the Super Bowl because the moment, that's what Tom Brady does. Only the New York Giants and Eli Manning seem to have the kryptonite on these guys, and Nick Foles. But so tomorrow, I think it's going to be a tight game in Kansas City, but I think the Pats win, so I'd be very happy if Kansas City does. And I think in the upset, LA Rams go to the Super Bowl, beating the heavily favored Saints. Now, the other point about Lemieux and Pittsburgh, not only, to your point, not only did he buy the team, but he won multiple Stanley Cups as the owner. Yeah. Oh, so you agree, right, Mark? You saw that too. Mark is writing that Drew Brees did underthrow some people. Yes, that deep route over the middle. He just could not get the ball in front of the receiver. Agree.
So do you think he just came up short because he rushed the throw, or do you think it's because he can't make it anymore because he's getting old?
Well, see, or it could have been, C, an off night. But I thought it was the first thing you said, the first 2 times. But by the 4th time, he couldn't do it. And they didn't talk about it before or after because they won the game. But, he underthrew. So basically, in the world that you coach, the passes, with the puck are coming up short. They're not on the block, they're not on the stick. You got to reach back to get them. So that.
You just be having a bad day.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it's something that needs to be looked at. I think anyway. So that's what's going on there. Let me ask you about these relocations. So you don't think they should be illegal, but you don't think very highly of them. I don't either.
No, I think, it's not that they should be illegal. They should be able to move wherever they want to move. I just think it's kind of stupid for them to sit there and bitch and moan about, our fans, we care so much about our fans and blah, 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 when then they don't stick around and they leave.
Right.
You don't care about the fans. You care about the almighty dollar. Everybody does. That's what it's all about.
Right. And
right. How does it say, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining, or how does it go?
He said, "Don't pee on my leg. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just tell me what you want, and it's all about the money. That's all it is. So.
No, look, I get it, and sometimes there are times when it makes sense, I guess, to move, but most of the time, no. But at least, like you're saying, be honest. Say, look, we're doing this for the money, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. Now, let me ask you, this is my pet peeve, okay? The New York Jets and the New York Giants play in the Meadowlands, New Jersey. They don't even play in New York. The Jets at least used to have their summer camp in New York. They don't even do that anymore. Why are they allowed? Why? Because they have a corporate office in New York to keep the name New York. Let me go a little deeper. Dallas plays in Arlington. Okay, close enough. I can take that. But let's be honest. You and I are up there all the time for youth hockey, youth travel hockey. The San Francisco 49ers do not play at Candlestick Park anymore. They don't play at least because that's not in Santa Clara. That's right outside of San Jose. That's not San Francisco. Yes, what the hell is that?
That's where the money is, right? They couldn't get a better stadium in San Francisco, so we'll go somewhere else. Don't call it San Francisco. Again, they're peeing on your leg.
Yeah, but that's my point. You want to call yourself the Bay Area 49ers, the California 49ers? You're not in San Francisco. You're not.
They should call it. I've got the name. I got it.
What?
They need to change it from the San Francisco 49ers to the Sanctuary City 49ers. There you go. Covers everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Tony, I love him. This is why he's probably my best friend, my business partner, and a hell of a director, an unbelievable photographer, but has the filter of Estelle Getty on the Golden Girls.
Hey, if my answers scare you, quit asking scary questions.
I agree. I agree. So, but then you have, what is this? Okay, look. So you have teams like the Golden State Warriors, right? And I'm okay with that. They're not called the Oakland Warriors, especially now they're going back to San Francisco. If you want to embrace a nickname for your state, you're the only team in any major league sport that does that, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. Here's what I'm not okay with. This is a little pet peeve of mine, and it's a little thing.
Wait. Don't the Angels also do that?
No. See, the Angels now, they used to do that. Let's go down the list. They used to be the California Angels, and that was good, remember?
Yeah.
That was the team, the California Angels. They embraced the state. But then they became the Anaheim Angels.
Jesus.
No, we're not done yet. And by the way, for those kids playing at home, Tony's name is actually Jesus. So he's talking to himself. So are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? Did you pour yourself another whiskey? Did you take a puff of the cigar? Wait till you hear this. You know what their official name is now?
What?
Okay, you ready? The Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles.
What?
They are now officially called the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles.
What is it? Did they come out with like a Mighty Ducks baseball movie or something? And that's why now they're the Anaheim Angels?
That's part of it. That's part of it. That's 100% part of it. Of Los Angeles.
Mighty Angels of LA or something? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, first off, look, you and I live here. We're down there all the time. For my friends on the East Coast, for our friends, for our followers in the Midwest, Anaheim is not Los Angeles. It's not. It's a good. If there's no traffic, what would you say? No traffic, which there always is. No traffic, 25-minute drive, 30-minute drive.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, easily.
it's shameful that they call themselves anything to do with Los Angeles. Well, how about this? The Florida Marlins, right? They came into existence in baseball, and in fact, they won the World Series very, very quickly. And in fact, they won against the Yankees one time. Now they're no longer.
By the way,
Go ahead.
the coalition of Angels is putting up a petition because they don't want the Anaheim Angels to be called Angels anymore.
Really? Well, yeah. Well, there's that too. Yes. You know what? That could be. I didn't think of that.
They find it offensive. Yeah, they find it offensive.
Listen, he's Uncle Tony, and he's making a good point, and that could be. Maybe the San Diego Padres need to change their name, right?
The coalition of mothers is going against Hispanic-speaking or Spanish-speaking mothers, madres, are mad because it's not San Diego Madres, it's San Diego Padres. So, yeah, that's chauvinistic.
Yes, and their logo is a friar. So, so anyway, so you have the Florida Marlins, right? They have a really nice F. It kind of looks like a marlin. So they're known as the Florida Marlins. They win World Series with that. Then they decide for some reason to become the Miami Marlins. Like screw the rest of the state. What is that?
And their uniform looks like crap now.
Of the whole
Everything.
it is awful. It is, and then the new stadium that's been there a couple of years. It looks like a bad fishbowl. It's absolutely horrible. But why do you do that? And you know who else did that? The Arizona Cardinals. Are the Arizona Cardinals? Are they the Phoenix Cardinals? Who are these guys? What's with the name changes? Why?
Because it's what pays the bill, right?
Right.
I'm gonna donate more, so then you gotta call it this. You're gonna donate more, you gotta call it this. I think when it switches between cities and like from California Angels to Anaheim Angels or whatever, that's federal funds or state funds, and they're saying, hey, we want to change the name, and this is what we want. Because you have like what is it, AT&T Stadium or whatever. Those stadiums, they're now called AT&T Stadium, Anheuser-Busch Stadium, or whatever else. Which you won't get into that because the NFL frowns upon drinking, but yet that's the largest supporter.
Right. They don't mind selling the beer commercials to the playoff games. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So
whoever pays it, So the city probably says, hey, we'll give you a cut on the stadium fees or the taxes, but you're gonna call it the Anaheim Ducks or Anaheim whatever Angels now or whatever.
Well, AT&T Park, which is a beautiful facility where the San Francisco Giants play, people. If you haven't been there, it's wonderful. I suggest you sit in Triples Alley. They just had to change their name because of a merger, divestiture with AT&T. I think they're Qualcomm Park now, or I forget who they are. So,
No, I thought Candlestick changed to Qualcomm, didn't they, before they went belly up?
I think you're right. So, listen, I hate this team. I hate the Yankees. I respect them as a franchise, but I hate the team. But I give them so much credit. You know what the name of their ballpark is?
No, Nick Mandela with an Andy, what?
Yankee Stadium. That's it. Yankee Stadium. Boston. Fenway Park. Right? Go figure. You want to hear a funny story about Fenway Park, which is absolutely.
Wait. But you're back east, right? That's where traditions run heavy.
100%. You're right.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. It's tradition.
Right. Whereas
over here in the West, we're trying to break tradition, right? You can't be a man anymore. You got to be a it. You can't be a she, a him, or anything else. You got to be non-binary. I'm sorry, we're not computer code. So that case, people are still man to man and women to women, and they still run by that old thing. So this is Fenway Park. This is
Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium, etc.
Yep.
They're not changing it, and they're not making it like they're more traditional. I stick to it. That's why when Detroit left the Joe, that was a big deal because
Yes.
even the Joe. I mean, that's Joe Louis Arena for crying out loud. How do you do that?
Now, for those of you want to talk about that a little bit, Mark, I hope you're still watching. Tell that story because again, we just talked how Uncle Tony is a huge Red Wings fan. He wanted to get out there that last season, wasn't able to make it. But as a Red Wing fan, explain to him what the Joe was. I mean, that was a very famous arena for you guys. Right? I don't know if you can you hear me, Tony?
You talking to me or talking to Mark?
No, I was talking to you. Just now, basically, if you can share with them, you were a big Red Wings fan. Explain to them about the Joe and how important that was to Detroit, and how you wanted to get out there.
No, it was awesome because the Joe was hockey. I mean, that's old time hockey. You know, the old Red Wings they played there, the original 16. And you just had a feeling about that rink. Like most hockey players will say about older rinks. That's what a lot of people say about Sound Arena here in town. That it's a hockey barn. It just it's a hockey barn. Then you look at St. Agnes. Oh my God, what's the name of this? St. Mark Center.
Right.
And nobody liked it for hockey.
Nope.
It's a brand new arena. How can you not like it? Well, they didn't like it. And even the sound, I gotta say, the sound was good.
Right.
You can hear Brian Anthony clear as can be. And I sat right by the glass. So to me, the view was the same. I like the view. I'm right behind the goalie, which is what I'm used to. So I was able to enjoy the game. But I never sat up, a little higher to see how it looked like, as they say, quote, a hockey arena.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody liked it. They loved Sound Arena. It was the same thing with the Joe. It was a hockey home. I mean, that's where you went to see the game. That's hockey.
Right.
And just like, it's Detroit, it's the Motor City. If Chevy was made, somewhere else and whatnot, which it probably is now, it's just not the same.
No, it's not, and I hear that. And sometimes they move these arenas for the proper reasons. I heard like in Minnesota. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mark. See, Mark is a listener. He's a follower of ours. He mentions Dodger Stadium. It's still Dodger Stadium. Always will be Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see for how long.
Right. Well, yeah, but you know what? They still have, and you know that I got to tell you, Mark, as two guys from New York, East Coast, I would love, and you and I love baseball. I love watching you play. For those of you who don't know, Mark was one of the best pitchers I've ever seen play. He always reminded me of a young Tom Seaver when he played with the Orioles with my brother. And I bring all that up because you have to understand when you're living in New York and you barely ever see a game, a hockey game or a baseball game. Dodger Stadium was like this mythical place. So the first time I ever got to watch a game there, you feel like you're stepping back in time. You see it, Tony. It still looks the same as it did when it opened up in '62. It's just beautiful. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, even Candlestick. Candlestick was a great park. It was windy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
The ball moved around weird. I mean, the outfielders had to have had a tough time catching balls out there. I mean, shit. When you go watch a game, there's a whole tornado all the time going on. You'd see birds that would try to fly out of that place, and they couldn't. They'd come up, and as soon as they hit the jet stream, they just come tumbling right back down into the field. It was hilarious to watch.
It was
just the winds the winds come in at sort of 10 a.m. winds or whatever they call them. I don't know if that's up that high or whatever.
right.
But it was something that had to be contended with, just like the Green Monster. Oh, you got to go play there, and you got to hit it over Jacqueline over the fence or over the wall, or it's not a home run.
Right.
I mean, all these older parks have these things about them that make them what they are.
Right.
And now everything, just like every other shopping center and everything else, it's all becoming cookie cutter.
Yes, and in the '70s, that's a thing that started in the '70s. If you look at where Pittsburgh played baseball, you looked at some of these other places, the Astrodome. If you took the dome off, you looked at Cincinnati. All those parks looked the same. They were multiple-use stadiums. All right, the question for Mark was to you, Tony, was the Joe is Joe Louis Arena, correct? That's what he asked.
Yes, correct.
Yes, it is. Yes, and so these guys they called it the Joe. So Mark, who's your favorite Ranger of all time? That's what I want to know. Let us know who your favorite Ranger was. So,
Well, that's a tough one.
yes.
You have Mark Messier, you have
Brian Leach? Brian Leach?
Yeah, Brian Leach. And then, of course, my goalie, I got to go with the little guy Richter.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. I was listening to somebody recently on a national broadcast, and he mentioned because Richter now runs American hockey program, and that when Richter and Van Beesbrook were together, that that it was the greatest American tandem in the NHL history. That both goalies were from America. Yeah. Oh yeah. So who's your favorite Red Wing? I know who your son's is. Who's your favorite Red Wing?
Mine?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I gotta say Steve Eisenman.
The guy was incredible.
He was the consummate captain. He was actually a forward that would light the lamp all the time. But when he came to Detroit, he played a couple of years, lit the lamp like crazy, and then they told him, hey, look, we need you to take on a different role and be more of a setup guy. We need your help because he was a defensive forward as well. We need you to play more defense. So he said, all right, whatever you need. And that's what he did. He played more of a defensive game, but he didn't score as much as he could have scored on the wing. He became a centerman and then played more defensively. But there's so many great players that you have. Even Fedorov, but you have number 5, Nick Lindstrom. Jesus Christ, the guy was another. The one thing about Detroit, they've always drafted well, and their captains are just phenomenal captains. They're captains forever, and these guys play their entire careers there. That's why the thing I still love about hockey is that, like we were talking about earlier, that the tradition, right? They don't sit here and go, I'm going to go wherever I want to go, wherever I am, or wherever I want to go for the most money. That's why I'm not a big fan of Anthony Field. Because that's what he did. He held out for more money. And it's like, screw you, go somewhere else then. See somebody else will pay. I don't care for the guy. He scores, he's doing well, but man, I don't care. And so I don't have much of a like for him because of that reason. You got Shanahan, you've got Holtby may run through there, Chelios. All these guys are good. They got traded after they weren't that good, but for the most part, a lot of these guys stayed there and retired out of playing there because it was just that's the city, and that's where you play, and they kind of like Pittsburgh too. That's why I was a little upset with Pittsburgh when they got rid of Flower. Like you got you guys for two Stanley Cups, and then you cut them loose. I thought that was a little bad, but I don't know. I still like Pittsburgh, and I still like Fleury. I'm so glad that he had the run that he had over with Vegas, and he's still playing. I
think so too. Oh, here we go. Mark wrote Mike Richter and Messier with his. Older would be Rod Gilbert. I love Rod Gilbert. It sounded like Joe Bear. Yes, it did sound like Joe Bear. And I would say obviously Messier. I always liked Davidson. Mark, you'll remember I had a Davidson jersey because he got them to the finals against the Canadiens. So I would say probably Messier. I would say Barry Beck because the guy could throw the hands like nobody's business. Either Adam Graves or Mike Richter. Though I love Brian Leach, it's tough for me. But obviously for me, it's Messier. And I know he is one of those guys. He's one of those guys that is we know he's an Oiler, right? He's an Edmonton Oiler.
I was just going to say, is he going to retire an Oiler or New York?
He's going to retire. He's going to retire a Edmonton. He'll be Edmonton. He's Edmonton Oiler, but he's also a special. Yeah, but he's also a special guy in New York. He's one of these. He's one of these guys that are 1 and 1A. I forget which president it was, but there was one president, I believe, or vice president, who was president of the United States and then became a Supreme Court justice. So that's what Messier was like, right? So the guy was just the ultimate, in my opinion, winner. But here's my last question because I have to go soon. But we talked about this a little bit, Tony, and I want your advice on this. You have somewhat evenly matched, and we're talking hockey now, evenly matched teams, right? They're all kind of similar. It's a shootout, all right? Do you want to go first? And where do you put your best score?
jump on them. It puts the pressure on them now to score. And then if they score, then we have to. So it's always the pressure falls on them. My best shooter, I put him second. I put him in second because, the first guy you get him in there, it's just kind of like in pitching in baseball.
Right.
Do you throw the heater first, or you throw a changeup or a fastball, right?
Right.
So you're gonna try to get ahead of the count. So you get a little fastball inside. Hopefully you get him looking, and you get a strike, and you're ahead of the count. So you send a guy who's pretty good, but he's not your best shooter, and if he's able to get a goal, you're ahead of the count. So now you're coming up. Now the guy's looking for the heat. Now anything you can throw at him, the knuckleball at that point, and he's gonna swing at it.
Right.
So then the second guy you put in your best shooter, hopefully he'll score, and then there you go. And the pressure's on them to make that difference and win it. But that's the way I would do it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. We're starting to see people move in your direction. It used to be they wanted to get out on top with the best scorer. I've seen people put the best scorer third, which I think is too far back. I feel very comfortable at that number 2, spot. So
because then you got a lot of pressure on that guy, and then less pressure on the other team. No. You just gotta. I like that kind of order. But I mean, in the NHL, if you're in the NHL, any one of those guys, anybody on the starting lineup, or at least the top 2 lineup, should be able to get in there and do their thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like people, like we all use that term, a cup of coffee in the NHL, cup of coffee in the Major League Baseball, cup of coffee. I heard this one announcer say, guys, you're saying that, and I understand what you're saying, but please understand the worst person in the NHL was so much better than anybody you ever seen playing your local rink. And it's so true.
Yep.
So.
Phenomenal athlete.
So, Tony, thank you very much. Anything you want to share with everybody before we go? We will be together live in the next couple of days. We'll figure that out. But anything else you want to share real quick?
We'll be live whenever you gives you permission, apparently.
There's no permission. It's my... All right, guys. Listen, thank you very much. And one other thing, I'm showing them. Listen, Tony is a great director. He directed an unbelievable movie. It's called The History of Hockey in Fresno. And we worked together along with Serge, the hockey guru, to help create the Hockey Hall of Fame in Fresno. So we have all the coverage from the Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. We have the movie that was sold out at the Maya Theater, and 10 minutes of incredibly funny video. And by the way, talking to Darryl Lauer, local Fresno Hockey Hall of Fame inductee, he said that he never felt the pain like the toothpick. And for those people who don't know, you got to watch the film to see what we're talking about. Well, good night, everybody. Tony, I'm going to hang up from you. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you so much, Tony. I truly appreciate it. Bye now.
All right, well, yeah, take care.
That's why he's like my best friend and great guy. And, it's a joy when you can work every day with somebody who's such a friend. He reminds me of my friends from back east on East 51st Street. Mark, I'm not just saying that because you're probably watching. He's that kind of guy. We could break each other's balls, but at the next moment, we can, be having an intelligent conversation. We go down these wonderful rabbit holes, and what I like is there's no filter. Don't ask me a question. Don't, like he said, and I'm stealing it from Tony now because he says it all the time, and that is, don't ask me scary questions if you don't want scary answers. So, which I think is great. Today's broadcast was brought to you by National University's alumni Fresno chapter. We want to thank them for that. For those of you, here's something you may not know, and that is most of your kids, if you live here in California and go to a public school, for the 16 years in a row, National University has accredited more teaching, has given more teaching credentials than any other school, than any other college. You could spend a lot of money to go to university of who the heck cares. At the end of the day, you are being taught by predominantly, majority of teachers have their accreditation for 16 years in a row from National University. Now, to be totally honest and open and frank, I am a graduate. I have a master's degree from National. I'm also the vice president of the local alumni board. We want to thank them for coming on board, and we support them, and they've got some good. So if you are a teacher that went to national, or a nurse, or somebody in business, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. And also, for those of you who are looking to buy the movie, we'd love for you to buy the movie. It's only $30. You get like 2 hours and 45 minutes of just some great fun. And $5 of every purchase goes to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Fresno County. And if you have any questions about anything, or you want to, advertise on our many different social media things, with Serge the Hockey Guru, with the wonderful work and creative work in making commercials and movies that Tony does, and with me just being me. If you have, let's see, we've got this phone number again. Let's see if we have it. Yes. So if you have any questions, if you want to buy the movie, go to PayPal. You can get it's PayPal very easy. It's at FresnoHockeyTalk@gmail.com. It's only $30. Or you can private message us. If you have any questions, call me directly. 559-997-6104. If you want to find out about our sponsor tonight, the Fresno chapter of the National University Alumni Association. We want to thank you for your support. And listen, tomorrow. So let's recap. Tomorrow, Uncle Tony and I are both picking the Patriots. I want the Chiefs to win. I'll be very happy to be wrong. But I think the Patriots will win. Uncle Tony is picking the Saints at home. Redmond's wrap-up. Darren is picking the Los Angeles Rams. Why? I think the defensive front's a little too tough. And there was a little concern last week with Drew Brees underthrowing the deep ball. So, that's who we think. Let's talk about it. And before I go, let's look for one more thing. Let's see if we can get a final on the Fresno Monsters. How awesome is this? In the last game of the year in Selland Arena, Killer Kaminsky's team, after kicking ass Thursday night against the Long Beach Bombers, first place Long Beach Bombers, last night started a little slow, came back big and beat Valencia. In the last home game at Selland Arena this season, the Monsters win 5-4. And they were losing. They were losing 4-2 going into the third. And you know what? I wasn't in that locker room. I was live with you guys with Uncle Tony. What a great job. Way to go, Coach Killer Kaminsky. Again, bar none, the best coaching job in the WSHL this year. Should have won Coach of the Year last year. You're a knucklehead if you don't select him this year. If it's a write-in ballot or whatever the case may be, the man, we're lucky to have him here. The man should be nice win, Monsters. Very much so, Tony. Very, very much so. Uncle Tony. I tell you, they were down 4-2 when we went on the air. 4-2. Big third period. Playing that last period of regulation hockey at Selland Arena this year. Star Wars night. Let's see if we can find out who the stars were real quick. Let's get that going. Stars in the night. Brochige is the third star. Daniev is the second star. And Velasquez. No, he's not related to anybody in the administration. You're absolutely right. And Velasquez. And listen, Serge the Hockey Guru has talked about Velasquez. I've talked about Velasquez. I've met him, talked to him. I talked to Nick and Wayne about Velasquez. Tony, you've seen Velasquez play. One of the new phenoms on this team. Holy shit. This guy's good. And again, this is the wonderful thing that the Killer has done. He keeps improving the chant. You're right. The chant should have been, "Who's your daddy?" Agreed, 100%. And by the way, did you see number 3 on the Monsters, Hicks, knock down the player in Valencia last night? Oh my God, what a fight it was. This guy could throw hands. He throws hands like somebody owes him money. Velasquez got such a sweet touch with the goal. This is Darren Redmond from Redmond's Wrap Up and Uncle Tony from Redmond's Wrap Up. And both of us from FHT Sports. We are growing so big, and it's because of you. Come on, get that film. We have our FHT shirts. We have a lot of other things going on, our hoodies. We have some announcements coming real soon, and that I think you're going to like. I'm very, very honored to be part of this three-headed sports information, social media revolution. And you're part of it. Thank you very much, everybody.